Good morning, my name is Tony Valenti and I'm going to be giving you an introduction to AlphaDrive and its capabilities. This video is approximately 30 minutes in length, so I'm going to try to keep it moving. So on this computer I've already got AlphaDrive installed, and to get running, the first thing that I'm going to do is I'm going to double click on the AlphaDrive A icon. When the AlphaDrive icon is clicked up, it'll go ahead and load up AlphaDrive, and as the very first step that it needs me to do, I need to authenticate into Clio. So I'm going to go ahead and sign in. There we go. Now, once I get signed in, the window's going to flash through, and then AlphaDrive is going to go ahead and start doing a data synchronization process from Clio. Now, depending on the amount of data that a client has in Clio, this can take a few minutes. I've seen it take as long as about an hour for some clients that literally have hundreds of thousands of records in Clio. That's not the norm. Usually it's pretty quick. Also, that's generally a delay that the client only runs into the first time they run AlphaDrive after we've done a patch. So it's not something that people bump into very often. All right, so you'll see here we have AlphaDrive running, and you'll see that the way that we know that is we have the AlphaDrive black bar across the top of the screen. That is the preferred way of running AlphaDrive. Some people don't like to have the AlphaDrive black bar across the top of the screen, so they'll minimize it. And when you minimize it, the AlphaDrive icon will hide down here by your clock or your system tray. Sometimes it also likes to hide in here. So it doesn't matter whether it's down here in the tray or whether it's up at the top, it's running. I'd like to have it up at the top, so I'm going to go ahead and double click on the icon, and that'll actually bring it back up here for the top. So we are now good to go. All right, in the AlphaDrive black bar, the #1 most frequently used capability is this folder icon right here. And that is the View Files icon. And that icon takes us to a new drive that was created on our computer by the AlphaDrive program called the Clio Cloud Drive. And this is our A drive. And everything in this drive is actually stored on Clio. Almost everything. There's some extra things that aren't, but for the most part, everything on here is actually stored in Clio. Now you'll see here we have three main folders. We have a pending, open, and closed folder, and these folders correspond to the status of matters in Clio. When I open up the open folder, I will see all of the clients that have open cases. And when I go into one of the clients, I'll see all of their matters that are open. I can go into a matter, and now I'm able to see all of the documents and everything that is associated with this client. Now this folder, this view right here is I'm basically looking at everything that's on Clio, except I'm looking at it in a Windows Explorer or a Finder window, as opposed to a web browser. So let's say I want to look at this stuff in Clio. Now you'll see I have some shortcut links here. I'm going to go ahead and double click this link to view this matter in Clio. This is nice because then I don't have to pull up Clio. I don't have to go find the client, search for the matter. It's just like a direct link right to where I want to go. And when I go to the Documents tab here, you're able to see that this view completely corresponds with the view that I have over here. So now if I go ahead and I right click and I say I'm going to create a new folder, well look, I just created a new folder over here, and when I refresh my view over in Clio, I've got a new folder over here too. And when I rename that folder, let's see, emails, motions, orders, we'll call this research. Again, I rename that folder. Real time, that folder is renamed over here on Clio as well. And when I need to put documents into it, let's say I have some research documents on my computer. I'm going to go ahead and move this window over to the left, and I've got the client documents over here. Actually, I moved it to my right, client documents over here. If I've got some documents on my computer that I want to copy over, I can literally just select these documents, and you know what? I'm just going to drag them over. And when I did that, that is all it takes to copy these files into Clio. If I want to copy some files out of Clio, all I have to do is I'm going to take this research folder, I'm going to drag it to my desktop, click OK, and boom, look at that. I just literally copied these files right out of Clio over to my desktop. Piece of cake. Now, in addition to that, one of the nice capabilities is the editing capability. So, normally when you edit a file, you come to Clio, you click on the file, you download the file, you edit the file, you go back to the file, and you re-upload the file. Well, AlphaDrive greatly simplifies that process. So what we need to do here in AlphaDrive, we're going to go ahead and we're going to go to, let's see here, Client Documents. I'll go to Letter to the Supreme Court. I'll open this up. Now, when I pull up Client Documents over here, and I go to Letter of the Supreme Court and I click on View Details, you'll see that right now we have two versions of the document, version 1 and a version 2. I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to add a line to this. And I'm going to say the Supreme Court needs Clio, and I'm just going to go ahead and up here and I'm going to click my regular save icon. There we go. Now, when I did that, that file was actually saved all the way back into Clio. You see how fast that was? I'm going to click on View Details again, and you'll see we now have a version 3 of the document. And that version 3 is the current version of the document. Now, once I've made those changes to the document, there are actually some pretty cool tools that I have in AlphaDrive as well. So I'm going to click on Documents, and I'm going to click on Compare. And I'm going to choose my original file as the letter to the Supreme Court, and I'm going to choose my modified file. It's actually the same file, but you'll notice here I'm going to compare version 1 of the letter to the Supreme Court to version 3 of the letter to the Supreme Court. And now I'm going to go ahead and click compare. And when I do that, my computer is actually going to kick up a red line of the changes that were made to the document. So you'll see here, I'm able to see the original document over here. I'm able to see the revised document down here. And I'm able to see the changes that were made. So I can see that the original date was May 31st. And now we're able to see the additional content that was adjusted. So go ahead and close out of that. Another capability that we have is the ability to go back to view previous versions. Maybe we just wanted to check out a previous version. So I can click on previous versions. I'll choose Letter to the Supreme Court. And there we go. I've got my 3 versions. And if I want to look at a specific version, I can just click on that version. And here it is. All right, we'll go ahead and close out of that. Documents. Archive is just create a zip file of some documents, nothing too fancy there. The next capability, this is kind of an important one I really want to highlight, is the import capability. Let's say that I'm a client and I'm coming over to Clio and I've got a bunch of files somewhere else. Maybe I've got them in Google Drive, maybe I've got them on a network share here. The import from folder command is a tool that basically allows you to automate the process of dragging and dropping files into Clio. So it really simplifies the process a lot. So if I click import files, I'm going to go ahead and click on copy files from. I'm going to copy files from client documents. And I'm going to copy files to. Now I have to choose a location on my AlphaDrive or on my A drive. So I'm going to go A, open, ABC Insurance, and V Sam Tucker. You know what? I'll put this under Joe, V Joe Connect. And I can tell it how many files I want to move at a time, what to do if the file already exists in Clio. If the file is a temporary file, it has like one of those ._ names or tittle $$, names, what I want it to do. And what happens if the file just literally is an empty file, there's nothing in it. I can go ahead and answer those questions. So now I've got that done. I'm going to go ahead and click on Start, and you'll see here that it's starting the process of transferring those documents into Clio. You'll see here that we had a pretty big document that it needed to transfer. It took a little bit of time, got a nice little progress readout, and now the process is complete. And when I go over here, ABC Insurance, and we move these into Joe Connect, here are those files that we moved over. The 100 megabyte file. We've got some additional documents as well. All right. With the migration, something that I want to point out: when a client is moving to Clio from an alternate system, maybe Adirant, client profiles, you name it. everybody knows that Clio does not actually migrate their documents, but I do. I've built importers for a number of these systems, and pretty much any system that has a database backend, which pretty much they all do, I'm able to import files from. Just this past weekend, I did a 360,000 document migration, and literally it just took a couple of days. Got my program running, told it to import files, and away it went. Um, this is a paid service. This is not something I do for free, and the price varies depending on the number of documents that I'm migrating in. But I specifically want you to know that I can import lots of documents from lots of different places. And if you have a client that's saying, "Hey, I need to move my documents over," they need to talk to me because I can help them out. All right. Other capabilities that we have here. In the new menu, we have some shortcut items here. If somebody needs to create a person, company, or matter, these are quick links directly into Clio. For the time, expense, and task and note entries, these are capabilities that well, I'll just go ahead and click on one. When I click time entry, I get a quick little pop-up that allows me to do a quick time entry without having to open up my web browser or anything. Other capabilities that we have here, you'll see here the way that AlphaDrive is organizing the files. The files are organized by status, by client, and then by matter. This is actually the preferred way for a lot of law firms, but not every law firm. Some law firms, they don't care who the client is, they're all about the matter. So AlphaDrive actually gives you some switches that you can use to basically configure how you want your view to look. I'm going to go to AlphaDrive and I'm going to go to settings, and you'll see here I have it's named one.open. I'm going to actually tell it I don't want it to use the longer names. And you'll see how I'm grouping the matters by client. I'm going to tell it not to do that. And right now I'm showing things by matter description. I'm going to tell it I want it to use matter number and description. So I've made it kind of some significant changes here. And when I click apply, you'll see that my folders now have a little bit different names. It's open instead of one.open. And when I open it up, I don't have my clients listed, but I have all of my matters listed by matter number. And when I open them up, I'll have all my files right here exactly as I would expect. This is good for some law firms that maybe only have a handful of clients, but they have lots of matters with those clients. So for example, let's say that your insurance defense, you represent the insurance company. You might only have 2 insurance companies that you work for, but you've probably got 1,000 cases among those 2 clients. So this is maybe a more optimized view for that type of client. This is not my preferred view though, so I'm going to put it back for me. This change that I'm making, this is a per computer change. So one of the things that's nice about these settings right here is that I made these settings for my computer, but if you and I work in the same law firm and you prefer the other view, you can have that other view. We don't have to use the same view. All right, there we go. We now have them back. Other folders that we have here, we have the document templates folder. The document templates folder corresponds to the templates capability in Clio. So if I open up the fee agreement, this fee agreement document that I'm opening up, it's the fee agreement template from that I have stored in Clio. And you'll see we have matter, client, name, all this standard stuff. We also have a sample representation template. Let's go ahead and open this guy up as well. Oh, that's nothing fancy there. We also have some document template samples. These are not stored on Clio. These are ones that we just kind of bundle along with AlphaDrive. And the purpose of these templates is to really help law firms get a grasp on working with templates. Drafting a new template, it can kind of be a daunting task if you haven't done it before. So I'm going to go to General, and I'm just going to take a couple of these documents right here. I'm just going to right click on them and select copy. And then I'm going to go into my document templates folder, and I'm just going to paste these guys right in here. And what I'm doing right now, I'm literally just adding these templates right into Clio. And of course, if I wanted to edit the template, I could just double click the template right from here and open up and edit the template. A capability that people really like as it comes to templates is the ability to batch create documents from templates. So I'm going to click on Documents, and I'm going to click on New Document from Template. I'm going to choose a client. I'm going to go ahead and choose ABC Insurance, and I'm going to choose Sam Tugger, and I'm going to generate a recipe and let's see here, we'll do a notice of hearing, a notice of mailing, um, a new client letter. We're doing lots of stuff here. File folder cover sheets, and we'll do a fee agreement. I've got a bunch of templates there. Now, when it says generate the file, I'm going to leave it in the original format and tell it to go. Now, if I was doing this through the Clio website, the way that I would be doing this process is I would be opening up the document, and I would be clicking, create new document from template, go, create new document from template, go. I'd basically be having to go through this process 6 times, one for each document. But through this wizard, it allows me to essentially batch this process up, so I can create lots of documents all at the same time for a client. So now that this is pretty much done, I'm going to go ahead and go to Open, ABC Insurance. Oops, that was ABC Association. ABC Insurance, Sam Tugger, and you'll see here are the documents that I've created. Now, when I open up the notice of mailing, let's go ahead and let this document open up. Boom. Well, we didn't have a lot of custom fields on here provided, but you'll see here it was able to generate some of the stuff. And let's take a look at the fee agreement. This probably has a bit more filled in on it. Much better. So, I understand I'm choosing to retain the firm. We've got the client. Most of the stuff filled in except for the responsible attorney.name, and everything we don't have set obviously isn't going to fill in. Now, when you look at this, you're probably wondering, what's this weird number over here at the end of this fee agreement? One of the things that's different about Clio and a regular file system is Clio actually allows you to have multiple files that have the same name. In fact, if I refresh my view over here in Clio for this ABC Insurance v. Sam Tugger, you're going to see here, let me sort by description. I've got 2 documents here called fee agreement, and that can be a pretty confusing thing for clients, because you'll see that both of the fee agreements, they're both created today, and I don't know which one was created first today, so it can be kind of confusing for clients. So what we do over here in AlphaDrive is we actually show you the actual date and time that the files were created, and whichever one was created last gets a special, basically a random number that gets appended to the end of it. That way the client can open them. Windows doesn't like it if you have 2 files with the same name. It actually it causes errors when you have that happen. So that's the purpose of that. Some other capabilities that we have related to documents. I'm going to go ahead and click on Documents, and I'm going to click on, let's see, Share. And the share capability, this gives me the ability to create intra-office links to the document. So you'll see here the situation that some attorneys find themselves in, and paralegals, is the paralegal will draft the document, and then they will need to email a copy, or they want the attorney to review the document. So they will email the attorney a copy of the document, say, hey, please go review this document. The attorney gets the email, they open the document, and the problem with that is when they open the document, they're opening the document out of their email. They're not opening the real live document. So if the attorney makes any changes to the document, they've got to remember to go save that document back into Clio. Well, this process allows you to create actual direct edit links to files that are stored in AlphaDrive. Now, these links are only applicable inside the firm. So if you were to email this link outside the firm, it's not going to work for anybody. It's only people who work inside the firm and have access to your Clio account. But when they do that, you get this little template, and you can actually kind of choose how you want your template to be organized. You can copy that to the clipboard, and then you can go paste this into an email, so you can give the attorney direct links straight to the documents. And what's cool about this is that when you click on one of the links, let me go ahead and I'll just click on it right here. You'll see that the link is actually opening up straight through AlphaDrive. And the advantage that this has is then after, let's say the paralegal emails the document to the attorney, and then the paralegal needs to go make some changes, they can make the changes and they don't have to re-email the document to the attorney because they've made changes to the real document. Then when the attorney gets the email and they make changes to it, then when the attorney saves those changes, they've saved changes to the real document. They don't have to go and remember to put it back. All right, so that is the share capability. I think I already showed you the compare capability, previous versions, new document from templates. Let's see here, what else? You know what, I might have covered everything. I'm sorry, I've recorded this video a few times. I wanted to get everything right, and sometimes I forget if I've shown you something in this version of the video. Some other things that I'll show you about AlphaDrive is the Chrome plugin and how AlphaDrive helps firms stay more organized. So one of the challenges that firms run into when they're working with files on like Google Drive or OneDrive, there's actually a couple of challenges. First, when you put files in OneDrive or Google Drive, those files don't get stored on Google right away. You put them on your computer, and then eventually your computer sends them to Google, and then eventually Google will send those files to other places to other people who are using Google Drive. Well, the problem that this creates is that you can actually make changes to a document on your computer, and the person who's sitting right next to you in the office, it might take them an hour or two to get the latest version of that document out of Google Drive or OneDrive. Well, AlphaDrive, whenever it makes changes, it saves those changes immediately back into Clio server. So that time that you have there, you never have to deal with this delay of the file actually transferring. When the change happens, it happens immediately on Clio. Now, sometimes people do run into a situation where they made a change in Clio directly. AlphaDrive looks for changes on Clio every 5 or 10 minutes. Now, those changes happen in Clio immediately, and the changes to the file happen immediately. But what I'm going to show you here, this is a nuanced situation where maybe my computer hasn't seen or hasn't noticed the changes in Clio directly. So I'm going to come into Clio right here, and I'm going to create a new folder, and I'm going to call it Demo. And because I created that folder through Clio, when I look in AlphaDrive, you'll see here AlphaDrive hasn't really noticed that folder exists yet. And because of that, in order to help clients work with this, we have this refresh button right here. And you only need to click the refresh button if you are working with somebody very closely on something and they've literally just put something there and you need it like right now. So I'm going to go ahead and click the refresh button, and you'll see here it says AlphaDrive is refreshing. This lets me know that AlphaDrive is looking for changes on Clio. And here in a minute, it's going to let me know that it's done and it's finished finding any changes that were done in Clio. Oh, there we go, already done. Now, what that lets me do is if I go back into my vStam Tucker folder, you'll see, oh, there we go. It has now discovered my demo folder. So this is how you work around that nuance. Now, I do want to stress, whenever you make a change in AlphaDrive, that change happens right away. There's no syncing process when you make a change. The only time you have to do this is if somebody else has made a change and your computer is not seeing that change quite yet. So again, this is just a way to kind of speed things along and make AlphaDrive work a little bit faster when you're in a high transaction environment. Another thing that's nice about AlphaDrive, or a problem that people run into, is that if they have like a network share folder or they're using Google Drive is a general solution. It'll let you put any file anywhere. And the problem with that is that when people first start using Google Drive, they're usually pretty organized about it. They have things in client, they've got things in matters, they have all these different folders that they have set up, and it works really great for them. But after being in business for about a week, people have got busy and they've just thrown files just everywhere. Stuff is just laying all over the place. It looks like there's been a file explosion. Well, one of the things that's nice about AlphaDrive is it doesn't let you do that. It protects you from yourself. So if I'm here on my A drive and I want to create a new folder right here, AlphaDrive's not going to let me do that. And the reason it's not going to let me do that is anything that I store in AlphaDrive, it's going to require that I put it inside of a matter. I can't just throw random stuff in AlphaDrive. Um, so again, if I want to throw some documents on here, I have to put them inside of a matter. So I can choose my client, I can choose my matter, and then once I'm in here, now I can put files and stuff in here, but I got to make sure that I'm inside the matter. I want to stress that because that's something that surprises people a little bit at first sometimes, but once they realize that, they actually really like it because again, it prevents the clutter that can very easily happen. Another nice thing about that is sometimes paralegals don't like to follow the right order of operations. I've seen paralegals who, they open up their computer, they start drafting documents for clients, and then they're throwing documents all over the place, and they haven't even created the client in Clio yet. So they're recording time, they're doing documents, and the client's not even in Clio. Well, when it comes to working with AlphaDrive, all of these folder structures right here, the A, B, and C insurance and the V Sam Tucker, that's all being fed off of data that's in Clio. So these folders don't even appear unless the client is in Clio. So if I'm a paralegal and I need to save some files, it's a pretty good incentive for me to follow the correct order of operations, create the client and the matter in Clio. That way I can create the documents. So I'll go ahead and do that. I'll show you how this works. So I'm going to come up here and I'm going to click on new and I'm going to do a new person. And this person I'm going to name um, um, uh, sample document, or sample client. Actually, I'll call it John client. There we go. And I'll click on save new person. And I'll maximize this. I'll go new. And now you're right, John client. And I'm going to call this sample matter. And I'll go ahead and save the matter. Oh, I need to select my permissions. And literally, because I just created this, I'm going to go ahead and click the refresh button. That way it'll pop up in Clio in AlphaDrive right away. So now I'll go to my open folders. All right, it hasn't discovered it yet. There it is, John client and sample matter. So now I have a place to put the files. AlphaDrive is, again, it's helped enforce that proper order of operations. Another nice thing that people like about AlphaDrive, and I hope I didn't already show this to you, is that anywhere we have a listing of folders, we can actually navigate this using the keyboard. So for example, if I want to jump into the open folder category, I can actually just press the number 1 on my keyboard. It jumps me to open, and I can press enter and I open it. If I'm looking for John Client, I know his last name's Client, I'll just type CLI and you'll see it jumped me right to Joe, and then I can just go down and there's John and I can press enter. If I'm looking for a sample matter, I can actually just press S, and again, it's jumping me straight to it. So that's a capability people like. If you want to navigate backwards, all you have to do is press the backspace key and you can go back up. Another capability that people like is the search capability. So this is going to do a document title search. This is not searching the actual contents of the document. This is searching just the file names. But I can use this search capability. I'm going to search for the word motion. Now I've got a lot of documents stored in this test account, but you'll see here it's finding everywhere that that I have documents that have the word motion in the file name. So it makes it very easy for me to find out who's been working on the documents. All right, the next capability that I want to show you is the AlphaDrive Google Chrome plugin, and this is a pretty awesome capability here. So let's go ahead and we'll pull up our Tucker, ABC Insurance, V Sam Tucker. We'll go to Documents. Now, normally when somebody has a document and they're using the web browser and they're working with Clio, and they click on a document, it downloads a copy of the document. Then you have to edit the document, save the document. Then you have to go back to the Clio website and remember to re-upload the document. Well, you'll see here that I have the AlphaDrive Chrome plugin enabled. It's right there. See that A right there? And what this allows my computer to do is Chrome and Clio are basically going to work together with AlphaDrive to really simplify this experience. So look what happens when I click on my fee agreement here. When I click on this, it's not downloading the document. I don't know if you saw that. It's a little dialog popped up for just a second that said AlphaDrive was communicating with Clio. And here in just a second, oh, there it is. The fee agreement popped up. And this is the actual fee agreement document. So check this out. I'll move this over here to the right. Look at that on the left. When I look at the fee agreement and I click on View Details, there's one version of that document. But now I'm going to make a change here. And I'm going to click my Save button. And now when I click on View Details, we now have a version 2 of that document. So it makes it a lot easier. I never have to worry about putting the document back as long as I have the Chrome plugin installed. Now, if the client uninstalls AlphaDrive, unfortunately, we're not able to automatically uninstall the Chrome plugin. So if you run into a situation where somebody's tested out AlphaDrive and maybe decided not to, and they're having a problem working with this, you just right-click on the extension and click Remove from Chrome. Additionally, if they just want to turn off the capability, if you just click on it, see how it's grayed out now? Now it's not going to be active. So if I click on that, oops, I might be running an old version of the Chrome plugin. Actually, I think I have to refresh the page. So if I disable that and then refresh the page, when I click on the link, it is going to actually download the file the way it normally would instead of simply opening the file. Additionally, we've got a few other things here. If I want to quickly search Clio for something, I can actually just type it right here. Click here to find in Clio. So if I type Tucker, oops, I type Ticker. I'll type Tucker. There we go. It just pops up the Clio search results. Makes it pretty easy for me to jump to anything I'm looking for. And if I'm using like a VoIP-based phone system, like maybe I make all my phone calls through Skype, I can actually type a client's name here, and it will place the phone call using my computer without me even having to really dial the client's phone number. A lot of people like that capability a lot. All right, I think I've pretty much shown you the gist of AlphaDrive. I hope I didn't forget anything in between the different times that I recorded this video. Again, big highlights that I want you to know: AlphaDrive makes working with documents easy. When you work with documents, it saves them back into Clio. Everything's saved on Clio. It's never synchronizing things from your computer to Clio. Whenever you make a change in AlphaDrive, it happens in Clio right away. The only situation that I'm going to tell you about AlphaDrive that might make AlphaDrive not the right solution for a client is if the client has a shoddy internet connection. One of the great advantages of Clio is that of AlphaDrive is that everything is stored on Clio's cloud. It's not stored on your computer. A lot of firms like this because it's a security concern having those documents actually on your computer. I don't know if you saw the article in the news. There's a huge article about this giant law firm that got quote unquote hacked. But actually, if you read the fine print, the law firm actually didn't get hacked. What happened was the law firm was using Google Drive, I think it was, and all their attorneys were using Google Drive. They had Google Drive on their desktops, they had Google Drive on their laptops, and everybody had a copy of every case document. That's kind of the way Google Drive works. And lo and behold, one of the attorney's laptops got stolen. They weren't hacked, the laptop was stolen. And literally, all the hacker did was publish files on the internet that were on the laptop. Well, with AlphaDrive, you never have to worry about that because everything's always stored in Clio. It's not stored on your computer. And if you were to lose a laptop or something gets stolen, you can actually remotely deactivate AlphaDrive directly through Clio. So what I could do here is I could come here to Apps, go to Settings, then go to Apps, and if I remove AlphaDrive from my Clio account, that will actually automatically disable AlphaDrive on any devices that I've put it on. Then I can go back one by one and re-enable it on the individual devices. So that's a great capability for people who are definitely security conscious and want to maintain the confidential integrity of their firm's documents. If you have any questions, please hit me up on email or Google Chat. My email address is tony.valenti@alphadriveforclio.com. And if you ever have a client that you're recommending AlphaDrive to, definitely let me know. I like to send people little bonuses whenever I get business because of them. So there have been plenty of people who I've sent $100. Actually, there's one guy who I've actually paid $900 this month to because of business that he's been referring to AlphaDrive. So I hope that each one of you watching this video, I'm sending $900 to. Probably not, but you know what? Every little bit helps, right? Again, if you have any questions, please let me know. I love working with you guys. You guys are a great team. If you ever have a support question, by all means, definitely reach out to me. If you find yourself in a situation where clients are contacting you for AlphaDrive support, don't feel bad about pushing them my way. I do support and I do a good job of it, and I take care of the customers. So sometimes I've noticed that sometimes customers, they're not really sure who they need to be contacting. Don't hesitate at all to just say, hey, you know what, we're Clio, we're not AlphaDrive. You know what, here's Tony's contact information, because I will take care of them. All right, I hope you guys have a great day. I will talk to you later. Bye.